Ready and racing.
Welcome to the Dogcast for Greyhound Racing SA. Visit grsa.com.au.
Well, welcome to the latest edition of the Dogcast, brought to you by Greyhound Racing SA. I'm your host, Brenton Yates, and as always, the old sparring partner, racing manager from Greyhound Racing SA, Shaun Mathieson, joins us. And Matho, what a big night we've got, and what about the decorative table? We've got the Derby rug, the Derby trophy, but of course it's Oaks final night as well. It's all happening as the Spring Chasing Carnival really heats up.
Yeah, we couldn't fit them all onto the table, Yates. Get ours on as well as that.
I reckon you could wear one just as a bit of a coat next time for us, Matho. That might work.
I might do that. But yeah, beautiful rugs.
I love the colour of this as well.
Job.
Yeah.
And also the trophy. But yeah, they're all playing for it. $25,000 to the winner for both the Derby and the Oaks. We saw some wonderful heats, which we'll touch on last week. And then we've got the finals on Thursday night. But at Yates, as we spoke about on last week's show, it's all heating up. SA Racing, this is the time that all the good dogs come out to play. So, I mean, we've had a taste last week with the heats. Now we get to all the finals. Yeah,
looking forward to it. So what we'll do on the program, we've got a bit to look back on. We had the heats last week of the Oaks and the Derby. We'll look ahead to the big finals on Thursday night. Also looking forward to having a chat to Ryan Tugwell. He's got Finis Jewel at the moment, who's going quite well for him, but he's also in a caretaker capacity for a couple of the Tasmanian greyhounds that Ben England has with Winburn Honey and who's in the final of the Oaks, by the way, and Winburn Dozer.
Yeah, looking forward to having a chat to him about some insights. Hopefully, he can give us on the preparation about how they've gone. But I mean, in your call, you spoke about Winburn Honey, and we'll talk about again in the review of the Oaks heats that how impressive was she?
Super impressive. Like going to that first bend was as good as I've seen in a little while, actually. So just massive improvement from last week. So we've got plenty to come up on today's Dogcast.
The Week in Review.
Our Week in Review is brought to you by the Fresh Pet Food Co., proud suppliers of fresh pet food for our GAP SA greyhounds. They're in the GAP prison programs. They're based right here in South Australia, so visit their website, which is freshpetfoodco.com.au for more information. Matho, review time. We look back. We had a couple of heats of both, the Oaks and the Derby. Let's get underway with, firstly, the Oaks. So they were early on the program, races 2 and 3. The first heat was taken out in terrific style, as we touched on earlier, by Winburn Honey for Ben England. Yeah,
and she showed wonderful improvement from the week before to last Thursday night. She was still a little bit slow to begin, Yatesy, which I mean, in a Group 3 final coming up on Thursday night, you can't give some of these nice greyhounds a start. But she was so impressive after a slow beginning, finding her way through the field. It was only a small field, mind you, but gee, she accelerated wonderfully well into the back straight and just put them away really mid-race. And she ran home really well, 30.85. The conditions on Thursday night, Yatesy, were challenging for the dogs. So it was a very strong headwind. So into the front straight early, and then at the end of the race, had a nice one in the back straight, obviously, but it was challenging for the dogs, getting knocked around a little bit. So for her to put in that performance, 30.85, she clearly had the edge on her rivals there. Weblek Jewel, a nice race leading up early, showed good speed, held on for second, and Zipping Mahalia for Nicole Price. So I didn't mind her performance. She had a little bit of trouble on the first turn, and ran sort of into the back of them down the back straight. So I think she's still a player in the final, Yatesy.
Yeah, and goes into the final at a big price. I mean, the starting price profile of these, so Winburn Honey was the third elect in the betting market. We had Weblek Jewel and Zipping Mahalia 1 and 2 picks. Look, obviously the way Winburn Honey improved was extraordinary. You touched on that acceleration through the first turn to the back was really where she won the race. The starts are concerned, I agree, like sort of flopped out again, really, like gave away a couple of lengths in the early part, but was able to make it up very quickly. That could be a different case in the final. You don't want to be sort of giving away that start early. But look, apart from that, very impressive. And I don't think the wind can be underestimated, like the weather you're talking about from Thursday night, because that was a howling breeze. And they're hitting it twice, obviously out of boxes and then again into the home straight. The Derby ones are probably the more impressive that we'll get to, but it was still a terrific effort by Winburn Honey.
Most definitely.
The second heat, now this was an all-the-way win as well. This was not as well, but Where's Poppy was an all-the-way winner in this particular heat. Was very strongly supported as well for Kieran Corby, back down to $1.75 favourite, beating Mapunga Surprise.
Well, I mean, she looked the leader on paper, Yatesy, and that's the way it played out. And to be fair, going to the first turn, once she found the rail, and some of the other stronger types were a bit slow to begin. So Mapunga Surprise, which was strong in the market, was a bit slow to begin. And she just opened up, and she opened up a big gap down the back straight, and the race was over. She had the race shot to bits. 30.96 overall. Again, the wind and could play a factor there in the time, but she was very impressive. And she has the early speed. I don't know if there's any dog in the series that can go as fast as her early. Bear in mind, some of those interstate dogs will improve a little bit on their heat runs. But she was very impressive. Mapunga Surprise, slow out, back near the tail of the field, ran home quite well. So expect some good improvement from her. And Fast Headache for Lachlan Mill. He's having a good run with his dogs.
Yeah, he is.
He must be super pumped to be in a Group 3 final.
Absolutely.
So ran a nice race into third. So huge respect there. But Where's Poppy? Let him up, and really that was the race, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot hidden in this particular heat. The leader, the second greyhound, did what you'd expect, sort of dropping back in trip with that month between runs and sort of worked home well. But you make an interesting point about the speed battle in the final. We'll have to check that out because Where's Poppy's drawn out, but does look the pace in the race. And in greyhound racing, we know that's a terrific spot to be.
Yeah.
We move along to the heats of the Derby. Could not have been more impressed with what we saw from Scalacci. Started the $2.25 favourite. There was big money at odds for Foot Rot Fender in this race, $34 into $6.50. But boy, Scalacci absolutely scorched around 30-27 on a very, very blustery night.
Amazing performance. I suppose, Yatesy, when you name a dog after a superstar of the racetrack, but also a superstar soccer player, I think, going back in history. But you want to be pretty good, and he certainly showed that, didn't he, on the night. 30-27, I think when the time came up, I think a lot of us just looked at it and went, oh, God, is that actually real? Because he really just accelerated. His acceleration from through the catching pen down the back straight.
17.47 that back split.
Just incredible. To get to that point in that amount of time, I think Tauji, the trainer, did say that he's probably more of a 450 to 500 metre dog, but he was super strong to the line over the 530, and he had that strong headwind. So very impressive. 30-27. I don't think you can take a lot more from the beaten brigade.
Yep.
I mean, Webleck Wolf ran home okay into second. In the Bug for Kia Hurley's more of a staying type. Ran a nice race into third and qualified. So congratulations to them, and departed into fourth. But you really can't take much away from the winner. He just he put them away early and raced away.
Yep, not much more to say there. There was nothing to hide there. Scalacci, a 13-length margin. You're really hard-pressed to find anything behind that sort of margin, I think. What about the second heat of the Derby? Mapunga Smoky was backed into the $1.50 favourite, and I thought it was going to take a while, if at all, we saw an effort like Scalacci's, but it turned out to be the very next race. It was extraordinary, this win as well.
Within 20 minutes, you had virtually the replica, didn't you?
Yeah.
Mapunga Smoky actually began really well. And I suppose when I spoke about Scalacci, there was probably one or two strides he took to get going. Once he got going, he really motored. Whereas Mapunga Smoky came out really nicely from the boxes and was able to lead them up. He did stay away a little bit from the rail.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's what's interesting about this time as well. Like, he's under a length away from Scalacci's run, but used so much more of the track. Now, I don't know if that's how he's going to prefer to race. He has drawn out a bit wider in the final, which could suit, or whether it's just having another look at the track, like whether he could track a little bit closer to the fence.
I think it's a really interesting point. I mean, you mentioned it in the call, just where he was on the track, and for him to produce 30-32 was, again, another terrific performance. Who knows, Reg ran a nice race into second. Lochinvar Milan, the second qualifier for Kia Hurley, so a good job there. And Aston Costello, probably a little bit unlucky, Yatesy. Going to the first turn, was in second place, was going to probably get a nice spot in behind Mapunga Smoky. Copped a bit of interference.
Yeah, I think what they've done here, when you look at the market, which we'll get to soon for the final, I think they've just put the line through that run. Luckless going to the first bend, didn't probably do a lot from there. Like, it kept finding the line, but beaten a long, long way. They're probably going on, take that run out and go on its previous form, which meant it was a $4 second pick behind Mapunga Smoke in that particular heat. So I think that's the way they've looked through it. But look, it's going to need its fair share of luck again in the final, Aston Costello. So we'll get to that shortly. But that's winding out the terrific heats from the Derby and Oaks. Now, Matho, as we build up to the Spring Chasing Carnival, we've had some trials and some upcoming as well. Yeah. So do you want to touch on the Queenslander Dolly Dutton, who trialled last Thursday here at Angle Park?
Yeah, so we saw Dolly Dutton trial last Thursday night. She flew down the day before. It takes a bit out of the dogs when you're flying from Queensland. So she trialled. She went 30.66, splits of 5.42, 17.92. Again, I wouldn't take too much of the early because she does have speed, but that's not really fast, really, in comparison to times. But she did come home in 12.74, which is comparable to Scalacci and Mapunga Smoky. So I think that she will have plenty of improvement there. She's being aimed at the Match Race Series and also the Adelaide Cup Series. And
what's her Queensland record like?
So she's fantastic record. She's won 12 from her 20 starts, 80-odd thousand in prize money. She's a last start winner of the Publicans Cup at Albion Park. She won her last 3. She's won a Group 3 Young Guns. She's young. She's not, I wouldn't say she's a seasoned open company dog, but she's a dog on the rise. So it's exciting to see her trial. As I said, she's been looking at the Match Race Series and the Adelaide Cup Series, so that'll be obviously nomination dependent, what actually gets nominated, and that's Thursday week, the Match Race. This Thursday night, Yatesy, we've got a couple of nice trials as well. We've got a Fire for Jason Sharp, which is owned locally by Ed Burrett, who went around in the Dapto Megastar without much luck, ran 7th in the Group 1 last week. So he'll be trialling. And we've also got Big Energy for Kelgrino going to trial on Thursday night. He was favourite for the Speed Star in Victoria a few weeks ago, 29.30 run, but the dog can go 29.0. So he's a very, very interesting runner for the Match Race Series. So both of them will be trialling on Thursday night. And the Match Race Series, obviously the 4 SA dogs take on the 4 All-Stars.
Yes.
And the winner of that gets their berth straight into the Group 1 Adelaide Cup. So it's really heating up and really excited to see what sort of fields we get the following week. Obviously, we've got the Big Oaks and Derby finals coming up on Thursday night, which we'll preview, but then the Match Race the following week's really shaping quite nicely.
Yeah, it's just building, isn't it? Like, it's hard not to get ahead of yourself because it's all sort of coming and you're seeing them all happen. It's terrific stuff. So we've got a big night on Thursday night at Angle Park, the final of the Oaks and the Derby. We're going to have a chat to Ryan Tugwell, local Adelaide trainer. He's up next, and he's a caretaker trainer of Winburn Honey, who's got her way through and a good chance in the Oaks.
The interview.
Matho, time now to have a chat to one of our local trainers who's doing a bit of babysitting, I guess, for some of the Tasmanian greyhounds that have come across, but he's also having a really good run with particularly one of his own greyhounds. But he's in a partnership with Lauren Harris, of course. They have got a fabulous property and produce a lot of greyhounds. I'm speaking of Ryan Tugwell, and he's been kind enough to give us some of his time this morning. Ryan, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Mate, we're looking forward to the Oaks, and for those that don't know, you've been taking care of the Winburn Greyhounds. Winburn Honey has made her way through to the final, and Winburn Dozer you also have, who's in Thursday night, but just couldn't get through to the Derby. How did it come about that they were sent to you?
Well, Benny Engling's a good friend of ours. We've been mates for many years now, and talk every other day just about, and it just come about that he had a couple there that were eligible, and we're more than happy to take them on and have a go.
Well, Ryan, we saw Winburn Honey through the heats of the Oaks. She had a run prior to that in a race where she sort of missed the start, looked very new, but geez, didn't she come on in a week? While she missed the kick a little bit on Thursday night, she looked super impressive in finding her way through the field and just that power into the back straight. You must have been pleased how she improved from week to week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, visually it was a super run. She's got a good field sense about her. She just lacks a little bit of early speed, which we sort of knew. She's definitely got a motor. I think Angle Parks, I did say to Ben, they'd actually had a couple of trials leading into her first race, which might surprise a couple. But, I think Angle Parks certainly, with the lure, the change of lure from different tracks, it can sort of undo a couple of dogs. And I think the more looks that they have, the better they go. And I just kept saying that to Ben, look, don't worry about times. It's just a matter of, having the extra couple of looks, which hopefully is going to benefit him on Thursday night.
Well, I mean, I suppose let's just talk about Thursday night in the final. Drawn box 4. I mean, it's a really nice field, which we'll certainly be having a look at. But she's drawn 4. She's got to come out a little bit better, Ryan, doesn't she? With some speed certainly drawn out wide. You've been working on her this week to maybe try to get a little bit more speed out of it early.
Yeah, absolutely. We've just kept her fresh. To be honest, that's going to be her key, is to, like you said, not miss it too bad. She can't afford to give them too much of a start. I don't think she'll be leading. She just hasn't got that natural box speed to ping the lid, so to speak. But if she can posse up, like I said, she's got good field sense. As long as she gets clear running around that first turn, they'll know she's in the race.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you say, Ryan, that she had a couple of looks prior to that run where she did sort of run off a bit on that first bend, because I was surprised at how rapid the improvement was at her heat run in the Oaks. The way, admittedly, the start, which Matho touched on, probably wasn't exactly as you'd like it, but gee, I don't know that I've seen a more impressive hunt going to that first bend and just sort of putting them away going through the pen. It was really impressive, and it's something you probably want to see again in the final.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, she handled that corner a lot better, and like I said, I think that just comes with track experience. I mean, obviously they've got to have the motor to do it, but she's clearly got the motor. As long as she can, just get around that first turn, similar to what she did last week, then that's, we'll know. Like I said, they'll know she's in the race. So,
what's it like to be a caretaker trainer? You said that yourself and Ben are pretty good mates and have a chat every other day, but how does it go when he's trying to relay instructions and you're trying to feed back to him sort of what is or isn't happening? Can you take us through how that's been?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to a trust thing. He's been really good. Just, put him into your routine. He's got a similar setup to us with regards to working them at home, which helps. So they adapted pretty quickly to that. But yeah, as far as, we mapped out the plan to have a couple of trials. The first one was just over the short into the catching pen, just so they got used to that. And then they had a box-to-box trial on a Sunday morning. And from there, he's just basically allowed us to do what we do and prep the way we prep. So obviously in conjunction with talking with each other, but just let Lauren do her thing, and just worked out well.
Quick question. You said fresh this week is what you're looking for. Is that different to what we saw in the heat, or is it following the same sort of steps?
Nah, it's a little bit different. We just had the discussion with Ben that obviously there's no secret that she's going to need to step, and she's naturally strong. So we've just decided to keep her fresh to try and get her coming out the boxes a little bit better. And the fitness won't be an issue towards the end of the race. So that's the plan we ran with.
Well, Ryan, as you said, they're going to know she's in the race based on the way she performed last week in the heats and the way she raced. So wish you all the best with her in the final of the Oaks. We'll just talk on Winburn Dozer, which, as Yates mentioned, didn't make the Derby final, but it's engaged in race 5 on the program and drawn out a little bit, drawn out in box number 6 there, but did actually come out quite well last week, and then just the pressure came early from out wide. What are you hoping to see with Winburn Dozer probably on Thursday night in probably certainly a weaker type of race, a grade 6 race?
Yeah, he's certainly graded a lot better this week. Look, he was just unlucky last week. Did nothing wrong. He just found a lot of interference, and that's the end of that. So it's just unfortunate, but that can happen in races. He's pulled up really well. He's had a good week leading through as well, so I expect him to race pretty good on Thursday.
And what about one of your greyhounds, Ryan, Fittest Jewel, who you're really having a purple patch with at the moment? A last start winner, stepped up to the 595, but has won 4 of its last 5 runs. Tell us a bit about Fittest Jewel.
Yeah, she's a bit of a story, to be honest. We bought her as a pup, obviously, through the breeding. We had Don't Tell Bluey, the half-brother. Had a lot of fun with him. And, the pups were available for sale. Actually, Scotty Bryan, who knew the breeder, another mate from Tassie, he knew the breeder really well, and said, these pups are for sale. And we were in the position where we thought, well, need to look forward to some new breeding stock. So we wanted to buy, a nicely bred female to breed with down the track. And, she broke. She broke in super, really fast at Dave Knocker's. And then, we just had a bit of trouble getting her going back at Murray Bridge, and she's just taken a little bit of time, hence her age. But, she's really coming on, and she's learning with every race. She's turning into a really nice type.
Now, Ryan, I did catch you on Thursday night, and we had a bit of a chat about her. It's no surprise she is one of my favourites, actually, on this show. I got a bit of time for her. Just the way she goes about it. She's a winner, and she can find adversity in the race, and she wins. So I think that's a really good trait to have. You said that there's a chance that she could be even stepping up a bit further in distance over time. Is that something you're looking at definitely in the future?
Yeah, I think in the immediate future, we're just going to try and put her through the grades. She just needs to build on a little bit more confidence. Not that she's doing anything wrong, but she's just still a bit young and immature. But like you said, she's got that will to win. But I think we certainly think her future's beyond 500. But how far that is, I guess she'll tell us over time.
Well, mate, we really appreciate your time, Ryan, and we wish you all the best with Winburn Honey, who is going around in the Oaks on Thursday night. Thanks for your time.
No, thanks for having me.
There he is, local trainer Ryan Tugwell, Shaun, who's looking after Winburn Honey and Winburn Dozer, and got the really smart Fittest Jewel himself.
Yeah, most definitely. Great to have a chat to him. Great to get a bit of an insight. Yeah. And as you mentioned about caretaking for another trainer, it's you've got to be having that correspondence with them quite regularly, and definitely he's doing a great job because he's got a huge player in the Oaks final.
And what about the other aspect he touched on where Ben's happy for the greyhound to go into Ryan's program? So He said that there's he's not looking for Ryan to copy what he would do. He's just got, I think trust is a word Ryan used, that he just comes in and do it the way that we do it. I mean, that was really fascinating to hear.
Well, I think that's the relationship. He says he's got a really good relationship with him, and the trust is there about the preparation that they do. And both Ryan and Lauren have an exceptional record with greyhounds, and they're one of the premier trainers in the state, and they're doing a fine job.
The preview.
Time now for our preview of Thursday night greyhound racing action. The preview is brought to you by the 2023 Adelaide Cup. So join us trackside. It's Friday, October 6th, so perfectly placed through the holiday series. It's the 2023 Tab Adelaide Cup. There's live music. There's kids' entertainment, Matho. Plenty more. For more information, just jump online. Hospitality packages are there, so you can scroll through and see which one might suit you for the night. Visit greyhoundracingsa.com.au. So that'll be a big, big night on Friday the 6th.
Big night. Daylight saving as well, Yatesy.
Yes.
So hopefully for some really nice weather, and it's all shaping as if the on-track is going to be amazing. The races are shaping quite nicely, but also off-track, as you mentioned. Plenty of offerings there for people to come along and enjoy the night.
Fantastic stuff. All right, let's get stuck into our previews, Matho. So Thursday night, first of the big ones is race 6, second leg of the quadrella. This is the SA Oaks final. I've got the market here. Do you want me to run through it?
Yeah, for sure.
So the Mapunga Surprise is the $2.40 favourite. Which was a bit surprising to me. Magical Mystic is $34 box 2. Purified box 3 at $6. Winburn Honey box 4 at $4.40 on the tab fixed market. Fast Headache in box 5 at $81. Webleck Jewel in 6 at $10. Zipping Mahalia I thought was a big price at $14. And Where's Poppy at $3.20 in box number 8. Reserves are Zinfandel Levy and Centrewick. They're both around the 30 to 1 chance. So that's the information for the Oaks. How do you see it all?
Well, True at the Tab's got the markets out as well for anyone who's interested on the Oaks and Derby to get involved at looking at that. But yeah, I'm super surprised that Mapunga Surprise is the favourite from box 1. Looking through her form interstate, she's not a ping out type of dog.
She's going to be second or third last, isn't she?
Well, yeah, I think so. I mean, there's enough speed around her that she just gets crossed. I mean, unless something dramatic happens that she's a box 1 flyer, but she hasn't really drawn box 1 ever in her career. So
I mean, the other thing with it for me is that visually on the replays, like her run home, Where's Poppy was sort of similar. Like there was no ground being really taken off Where's Poppy strongly. So it's got my mind boggles, to be honest, about the price. But there's smarter people than us, Matho, that are putting this together. So there must be a reason.
There must be. I think she has to get out a little bit in the market. Definitely she's one of the big players in the final for sure.
Yes.
On her interstate form. And she was a nice run. Bear in mind, she was slow out and came from behind. I think that's where she's going to be.
Yep.
But she will be on the rails. And so if she pushes up to midfield, she's going to be in a striking position. But at that price, I just think she has to get out in the market. I mean, on face value, as we mentioned in the Oaks review, Where's Poppy has the speed. She's drawn 8, which is not great. I mean, I'd like to probably have her a bit closer.
She's never been there before either.
No.
First time from box 8.
But she's shown she has enough speed to cover this field. So the only one is Weblake Jewel from the 6 showed good speed as well. So I think the speed is going to come from the outside. There's going to be so much pressure on those inside dogs. And then we spoke about Winburn Honey as well, who when we spoke with Ryan about maybe she comes out a little bit better, but probably she'll just come out, probably. Yes. If all the speed on that side, she might actually miss the speed coming across her. It might be put in a good position. But yeah, I was leaning more so, Yatesy, to the dogs on the outside. And I take your point about zipping Mahalia. I actually think at $14, she's a wonderful chance because I see her getting a nice run across and putting herself into the race. Whether she has the class to win at Oaks, she definitely can run the time. And at $14, she's definitely a good play. But I'm personally leaning a little bit towards Where's Poppy because I think she'll lead.
Yep.
I think Zipping Mahalia, Weblake Jewel, and Winburn Honey to round out the 4. Mapunga Surprise, I have to risk her from the inside. How did you see it?
Look, not too dissimilar to you, to be honest. I think you're right with the Where's Poppy setup and Weblake Jewel coming over. Zipping Mahalia for me is a massive price. So each way, even though I've put it in 4th, you just got to entertain it at that price. $2.70 it was last week in the heat.
Yeah.
Now, on one run, all of a sudden it's gone out to $14. Doesn't make sense to me. I think it slots over 3rd and trying to work down. I think Winburn Honey's the one hunting through and lobbing 4th and the one to beat. I think can just power through, get around and be a bit too strong. So I've got Winburn Honey on top to beat. Probably the leader, Where's Poppy? I've got it in 2nd. I put Mapunga Surprise in for 3rd, just in the element that if she's able to boot and there is a bit of trouble, then can be certainly the strongest at the end. And at the price, Zipping Mahalia to me is a crazy price. I thought had to be $6 or $7 in the market, certainly not 14.
Obviously the markets have come out, a number of days before the race. So expect it to move. But as you said, we might be well off in relation to that. The people who are doing the markets sort of know what they're doing. But I'd expect it to be some movement for sure.
What about the final of the Derby, Matho? Can you run through the markets and the box draw here for the big one?
Yeah, for sure. Well, Scalacci's come up with the red box and he's quoted $2 in the bug out of the 261. Lochinvar Marlow out of the 326. Aston Costello from box 4, 460. We've got Weblake Wolf out of the 5, 750. Who Knows Reg, $101 from box 6. Mapunga Smoky, box 7, $2.60. Departed out of the pink, $17. And the reserves, Foot Rot Fender, $16. And Buzz the Hustler, $16. But I think in this scenario, I think the people who are doing the market sort of have it right. And maybe from what you're saying, maybe Scalacci at $2 is maybe a touch of overs.
Well, I think the overs come about because I think Aston Costello's a bit short. I think they're putting the line straight through last run, which we spoke about, and going on its previous form and sort of slotting it in there.
How did you see the race?
I thought Scalacci just boots up, is the lead, loves the fence. and is the one to beat. I thought Mapunga Smoke, if it gets out similar, will sort of move up and be right alongside. I think we could be in for a ding-dong duel. I reckon if those two are going down the back head and head, that it could be an amazing derby final. And I think it possibly looks that way on paper to me. I feel like that pair are a lot more in front of the others. So I thought the Aston Costello at 460 was probably a bit short. So I think that market percentage could be split to both Scalacci and Mapunga Smoky. So I think they're both probably a little bit short for what I think will happen in the race. I think they'll clearly run 1-2, and I think it could be a fantastic final. The other one I thought was a bit short was Webleg Wolf at the 750. Found trouble. I accept that. Form before in Melbourne was all right, but what we saw on Thursday night, it's hard to get out of your mind what they did on that particular night in those conditions, and it only takes a repeat of that, and we are going to be set up for a really, really big clash.
Yeah, I agree. I think the two favourites are the two dogs to beat, and I think they have lengths on the opposition. So I expect everyone else to blow out, to be fair.
Yep.
And I think the two favourites, Scalacci and Mapunga Smoky, have probably both drawn probably what suits them, to be fair.
Yep.
I think from what we saw with Mapunga Smoky, box 7's not going to hurt his chances. I mean, he sort of shows really good speed. He likes to sit off a little bit, so that's okay. Just whether he is an extra look at the track, he does want to get more to the rail because he was perhaps a bit new, but it looks like he'll sit off. It looks like he's happy to do that. Scalacci clearly, apart from one or two strides early, he'll come out running, and there's no speed around him, really. So, I mean, he gets that advantage anyway if he does happen to have one or two strides there, but he wants the rail. He showed that, and he loves it there. So I'm fingers crossed like you, hoping we get what we think we'll get, and that's an absolute match race into the back straight, and for the whole of the race. And I'm leaning to Scalacci because he's going to have the inside running, I suppose. But I'd be very concerned about Mapunga Smoky. That he's a very, very strong type of dog, but it's going to be exciting. I've got Scalacci on top ahead of Mapunga Smoky. I will put Aston Costello in for third, and I mean, I think you could have a bit of a raffle for who'd run fourth, but I think maybe Webleg Wolf might run fourth, but I think they'll all be playing for the minor end of the prize because the pointy end will be those two dogs, I think.
Yep. Yeah, I've gone 1, 7, 4, 5, same numbers as you. Could toss in Lochinvale Milan for a top 4 spot if you wanted to try and find something there. But I think your point is so key about the no speed around Scalacci because it would have been a bit more concerning for me had there been some immediate pace on his outside, given what you correctly said about just that first stride or two that it took for him to really get mobile. But I just see him booting through. I see Mapunga coming up on his outside, and I see him having a really good battle to the back. Yeah. And, it'll be just last man standing stuff.
I think it'll be exciting. I mean, race 8, both Group 3 finals are going to be wonderful, but race 8 on Thursday night, definitely one to tune in for, and it's going to be exciting racing.
Terrific stuff. All right, Matho, time for that time of day again. It's best bets for Thursday night. Now, I think you might have got rolled last week, did you? Or
No,
one did it.
Springvale Roxy, but she was backed into odds on favourite.
She was. Yeah, that's
Should have been your tip if she was odds on.
Who do you like?
Well, I'm going to go late in the night, Yatesy. I'm going to go race 11, and I'm going to go with number 6 chairman for the Ben Rawlings team. Mm-hmm. Was first up since June last Thursday night. Came out okay, huge check on the first turn, ran home okay to run fifth. This is not an overly strong race. I think he'll get a nice run in the race. Centerwick on his inside and Molly Irish on the outside will be the pace. I think he'll lob third.
Yep.
I think he'll just be extremely hard to beat. I don't think you're going to get flash odds about him. I think probably 220, but I think he'll win. He's got the strength about him as he does have 600 and 700 metre form. So I think he should get the job done in race 11 for the Dogcast followers. What did you like on the night?
Matho, look, I thought there was a dead set Quinella earlier on. So race 3, Dash of Blue and Fantastic Radley. So I've got a leaning to Dasher Blue in the race. So if you wanted to go for a straight out bet, it could be the one. But I'm excited by how Radley's come back and just the way that he's building and coming into his own a bit. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him over the middle distance on Thursday night. But I thought Dasher Blue might be booting in and being a bit closer to the front than Radley early and just being a bit too good at the end, but could easily go the other way. So bit of a safety net for me there, Quinella. And Scalacci, I thought, would boot through, lead them up and win the Derby.
Okay. Well, I mean, just those names that you've mentioned, like all the good dogs are coming out, aren't they, on Thursday night? And it's exciting. So that race 3, is a really good race to look at with Radley coming back into really good form. And Dasher Blue, what a wonderful job Richard Pearce has been doing with that dog.
And he's just at a high level, isn't he, for so long? Like he hasn't really put in a bad one.
No, I mean, he was placed in our state final of the national sprint.
Yep.
He's won the Shane McQueen over 5.95 and is a consistency of performance, as you said.
North-South Challenge.
North-South Challenge. I mean, he's been a wonderful dog for Richard Pearce and in really good form. So hopefully it continues for them. But, I mean, that'll be a race as well to watch, race 3 on Thursday night.
Well, great stuff, Matho. Big Dogcast, and we've got a big night coming up on Thursday.
Looking forward to it, Yates.
All right, see you all at the track Thursday night at Angle Park.